Well, here we have a wonderful, realistic, super realistic representation of the great pilgrimage saint, Santiago de Compostela, St. James, whose pilgrimage church is in Compostela. And he has everything in this figure. You see everything that you would ever want to see to define Santiago the pilgrim. If we start at the top, he wears a big pilgrim's hat. To make sure that you know that it is Santiago, he wears his symbols attached to the brim of the hat. In the center is the scallop shell, because one of his great activities was the salvation of a man who had plunged into the water on horseback and came out covered with cockle shells. He leans on a staff, and hanging from the staff, you see a rosary and a very beautiful pilgrim's bottle. We have a pilgrim's bottle in the museum collection also. It's this distinctive shape, not quite a canteen, but almost, and it hangs from his staff. This sculpture was originally painted. So you have to imagine this in rather bright, stark colors too. And you can still see, if you look under the purse here, you can see quite a bright blue. You know that that's the original color because it's tucked away. The sculpture has been scrubbed down, but not entirely. So this is a Gothic piece, a late Gothic piece. This would be from a church. You get very little domestic art from this period. He probably was carved to be placed beside a door. It was usual to have a row of saints on each side of the door. When you look at the face carefully, he is clearly looking up. And so I assume that he was probably about this height, maybe a little taller, maybe as much as this much higher, and looking up at perhaps a crucified Christ. He is the patron saint of pilgrimages because in the 11th and 12th century, it was with Rome and Jerusalem, Santiago was the major pilgrimage site, the focal point of thousands of people who traveled across Europe to visit and worship at his shrine.